Oh, yeah. Black sun in the hizzle, or shizzle dizzle. I got my esteemed panel to my right, Ms.Flanigan. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ms.Flanigan.
Yes. What do you represent, Ms. Flanigan?
Ms.Flanigan, that's it.
That's what's up. And to her right, we got Brother David Wiseman.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing, Dave?
Hey, I can't complain. I'm here.
All right. Then we got Gideon to his right.
In the hizzle, my nizzle for rizzle. And I represent, I hope, Yah, the creator of heaven and earth.
That means, to you atheist people, Gideon is the king of the Hebrew Israelites.
Look at that. No, the king is Yahshua. I'm just a lowly servant.
But he needs a representative, right?
He does
To
need
come before the table,
ambassadors.
because I can't
Absolutely.
hear Yah. So I need you to represent.
Well, you actually have heard him, which
Yeah.
is why we connect.
I ain't heard him get it. You his representative.
Yes,
like I
sir.
ain't heard Jesus, Miss Flanigan.
That's on you, that's your loss. He that
So
have
then
ears, let him hear.
And I ain't heard nothing yet.
Yes, you have.
They
But what
hear,
I
but
have
don't hear.
what I have heard in the news is the 113th Congress. We have 78 women in the Congress and 20 in the Senate. So let me give an applause to democracy at work here. So we have women dominating the political arena on their road to dominate the arena. And so that brings me to my first topic at hand, because we got some Christians on here who believe in Jesus. We got some Hebrew Israelites on here who believe in Yah. We got an atheist that don't believe in none of that. And so, but we all got to still come to the table, because what's represented here in reality is what is represented over in Egypt. And like me and Brother Gideon, we talked about the puppet being Hamza Mubarak, who was booted out by the grassroots people of Egypt. He was kicked out, and they replaced him with another puppet.
His
by the
brother.
name of Muhammad Morsi. Now the problem here is that Muhammad Morsi wants to implement Sharia law. However, they're saying that the revolution, they were fighting for democracy. So we got a problem here, Houston. Because based on my research, Sharia law are Islamic laws, and according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, there's a little conflict there, because I think it was Article 21 where it says that both parties that get married have to agree to the marriage. That means if the woman doesn't want to get married, guess what?
There's no marriage.
Right.
So Sharia law has a different perception of that. So Ms. Pam, we have
Explain to the people what Sharia law is.
Sharia law is Islamic law.
Yeah, okay.
And Islamic law according to Allah, meaning Allah gives the Prophet Muhammad set laws and statutes to go by. Okay? And basically, there's a section in Sharia law that deals with non-believers, people that have a secular mindset. So Sharia law technically would fall under what you call a theocracy, being that a democracy represents all people, Ms. Flanigan. So you being a woman, we're going to problem solve today. I am come down. In fact, I'm Jesus today.
There you go.
And I am coming down, as it said in the scriptures, I am coming down and I'm being fishers of men. So I'm giving the power to you. You no longer have to wait for Jesus. I am Jesus. And so I'm appointing the power to you, Ms. Flanigan, to come up with a solution to solve this real problem that is happening over in Egypt, because you have women, you have secular people, you have Christians, and you have Muslims. So under this guise of democracy that they claim, democracy, they usually have amendments. So what is your solution to this problem that they're having over in Egypt?
Well, first of all, if you just have people that come together for a common goal, if we could all come together for a common goal,
Okay.
then we can, the only problem with coming together for common goals, people bring their own belief systems in trying to determine what the common goal is.
Okay.
But if we could all just come together for a common goal, what is right, what would benefit the people, that would really help out with some of the solution. Whether it's man or woman, a lot of times you have to make sacrifices, and a lot of times you have to compromise. Simple.
So, man, I just can't hit you over the head and say Allah tells you to be my wife.
Well, no,
Yes.
no, you really
'Cause that's
can't.
what Sharia law states.
Right.
That you have no say so that you will be my wife. Allah says this and commands this.
Well, when
And if you don't, off with your head. That's what's going on over there.
Well,
That's
when
got-
you really look at the
Think I'm
big,
joking.
when you really look at the big picture, the way the world is going to play itself out, you're going to have a lot of laws that are going to appear to be like Sharia law anyway, because there are going to be laws that's going to tell you how much you can plant, how much you can grow, how much you can work. There's going to be many laws that has nothing to do with being in Egypt. These same laws are going to be implanted into the United States. That's why they have what's called world police. So it's good that we want to fight the laws in Egypt, but you have to know that a lot of these same laws are coming right here to your own backyard.
Well, I don't recall, I recall a lot of kids being shot up in the United States, but I haven't recalled a little girl being shot on the bus like in Pakistan because she was going to school for her education.
Well, you must not have read in Black history because we were beat down, shot down by water hose
Yes, we
and
were.
dogs and everything like that in order to go to school. When I was getting bused in the 7th grade in Louisville, Kentucky, which was one of the best things that had really ever happened, so we had to fight for that integration, although they say integration was a terrible thing. But for me, growing up in an all-black school, we had no heat, no water, overcrowded. Sometimes we had to sit in the hallways, terrible lunches. But once we got integrated into white schools, although we had to drive all the way 35 miles across the school,
Okay.
across the yard, we had better education, better food, the whole shebang. But I remember that very first day of busing. It was just like on television. Those big red trucks and some white people, they trapped our bus all around, and they were firing those shotguns at us. And then when we got off the school bus, all those white kids were standing outside. They were throwing eggs at us. And so, that was still a fear tactic to make
Okay.
you not want to go to school, But hey, we continued on. I graduated.
Okay.
Wow.
That's just a little story. You know what? They used to call it Klan-tucky. So believe me, I had dreams about the Ku Klux Klan when I was a little child.
That's wonderful, Ms.Flanigan.
I know you're probably like, how does that relate to Sharia law?
Give me 1 second,
I
because
know
I
you-
want to
I
come to
know.
Brother Dave right now, because we're on a
Sure.
little time limit here.
Okay, well,
Yes.
it all relates
Yes.
though. Connect.
Connect the dots.
Hey,
You know-
connect.
It's the United States amendments that allow women into government, allow women to vote, and allow women to be in power, be judges, courts. So let me define amendment. The amendment is the act to change for improvements. And so, dealing with democracy, if you're going to be a real democratic country, my opinion, and Dave, I want you to come in here and give me your solution, because that means if you put Sharia law up in the Constitution, that means it's up for amendments, does it not?
It does, but at bottom line, as you really think about it, as we were sitting here and listening to the dialogue of you and Mrs. Flanigan going back and forth, I have not really recognized any type of solution that worked for the people. I'm sitting back here just thinking, I'm like, every time we amend something, regardless of what type of ethnic group that's out there, whatever you put out there that sounds good, that demonic power structure just comes and slams it. So I've just never seen something that just really works.
Well, Dave,
I have not. I mean, can you point something that has worked out more than 2 years, and someone has came in and not changed it?
well, we would have to go through history, Dave, because I mean, I can look at some of these articles that are beneficial to me, like in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It says here in Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, freedom to change religion or belief or disbelief. So, you know, I think that would help me in that situation.
Yes, it would help you in that situation, but we do have executive orders that cancels out everything that you just read about.
True. That's true.
And so there's an executive orders going on right now today. It's just sitting and stacking and waiting for the cards. Right. Just as though we have the situation out there in Egypt. And we spoke about this a number of times. Egypt is like the shock test for the United States. Mm-hmm. So you have so many different types of executive orders. These people are out there saying, listen, just like you gave an example earlier about, I'm going to marry you. Right. If you don't marry you, I'm going to cut your head off.
Right.
Well, over here in the United States, they have things so set up with the executive orders, things that you can't say anything. You can't drive your transportation. Mm-hmm. You can't plant certain types of foods. Mm-hmm. All these things are set up, and it's just waiting for the people, because here in the United States, just as way you have over there in Egypt, where the people are uprise, the United States will uprise one day. When you have everything in place, it's time to set your things into motion. Because a structure, a demonic structure, a power structure, knows that the people will sit and think. They know certain things are not right. And as they know these things are not right, the people are planning. Okay. But what can you do is planning, and they're in control. That's why I said to you earlier, what form of system that's pretty much out there, that's something that's last 2 years, that's solid. Because they always have something stacked up with the cards to bring the house down. Okay. Foot to the neck all the time. Foot to the neck.
Now, mind you, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was not only formed by the United States, but Russia, France, Canada, Yugoslavia, Mexico, you know, so you have other countries that had made this agreement, because you have a lot of secular countries, that being, let me define secular, to things that are not religious or spiritual, not belonging to a religious order. And so, you know, you have some countries that claim that they have a religious order, like the United States, which, you know, Thomas Jefferson made sure he amended all the God, whatever, out of the Constitution. But that's, you know, I mean, it's kind of related to this topic, but you don't.
Yes, sir.
Ms.Flanigan, did you say it was a solution? Because I know you had.
Yes, I said it's a solution.
She said it's
the
a solution.
solution come together for one common goal.
Okay, so
Simple.
I just want to recap real quick. So Ms.Flanigan said it was a solution. Now Dave kind of shocked me. He said there's no solution. Is there a solution? Is there earthly? I'm giving you the power. I'm Yah. So I'm giving you the power as a man to come up with a solution to solve this problem.
Now let's define the problem, because once again we have to, in order to solve a problem, we have to define what the problem is. And in Egypt, what we've seen is there is dissent against the corrupt government, specifically when Hosni Mubarak was in power.
That's right.
That was related to America using them as a puppet. And we saw Mubarak and his regime and his government get filthy rich. Absolutely. Where the people were, you know, starving and wallowing in mire. So the question for a solution is, first of all, define your question as it pertains to the solution. So are we talking about the solution to the corruption in the government, or the solution to the people having resolved their issue with the government?
Okay, let me be more specific, Gideon. You have two concepts. You have one constitution. Okay. But you have two concepts. One being Sharia law, right? One being democracy, meaning that the democracy on paper represents all people. Sharia law wants all people to fall under Islam. Right. So all the people are not agreeing with it. So absolutely, they're having a dispute.
Right. Well, how we define that dispute is really, for me, obviously, I have a predisposition towards Sharia law, because it is the laws of Islam came out of Judaism. Okay. When we look at the concept that opposes it, we have to look at demonocracy, or the American agenda of capitalism that fuels their agenda on the planet, which is world domination.
Okay.
So Sharia law at its base is peace. It's about peace of all men, but in America, they have created an adversarial relationship with Islam because they have strong family controls and mechanisms, i.e. the Arab League, that are trying to control ancient land boundaries because of the resources that are there, that America, through its capitalist manifesto and globalist militaristic agenda, is trying to control. So there are those, Sharia law, I believe, will obviously incorporate this move for unification and peace within the region, but because capitalism fuels the opposite position, there will never be peace.
You can't blame this on capitalism.
Oh, absolutely it is. It's
What's
about
capitalism?
resources.
It's all about resources.
God,
Okay.
gold,
Oil,
oil,
diamonds.
diamonds.
That's right.
That's America's God, beloved.
So you're saying that the Sharia
Don't forget
law
drugs.
will set balance to this.
Absolutely it will, because it's based on the principles of Yah, and basically it forms an alliance with family. See, in America, what you really don't realize is that the war is a gender war. America hates the Arab League nations because they still have multiple wives, they still have control of their families, they still have a theocracy that you, being the king of the atheists, are developing yourself and don't even know it.
You see, that's why I got the fact book here. 'Cause in Egypt, it's funny because in a democracy, the Egypt, just like in America,
Yes, sir.
the women outnumber the men. So you probably have women that want to be multiple wives, Ms. Flanigan.
But therein lies the comparative or the directive of culture. Culture defines what you are allowed to be able to have and your resources, and it develops a historical pattern from which you can follow.
And unfortunate, you're sharing husbands anyway over here in America.
No doubt.
Husbands,
Exactly.
boyfriends, you might not agree to it, but you're really sharing the boyfriends, the husbands, the old dudes.
Exactly.
Women are sharing.
OGs.
Okay.
The OGs.
And the
Dave,
STDs,
'cause we-
Dr.
Yeah, the AIDS.
David, okay, we've heard Ms. Flanigan talk about, men and women
Oh, God,
dating, playing
that was just fun.
the
was
game.
fun.
Hold on, the dating game. But my thing is, you have democracy. Now, he talked about culture, so now you have a problem here because you have women outnumbering the men, and they're saying no. So if they go on a democratic system, I mean, like I said, it represents all people. So what Gideon is saying, based on a theocracy, that everybody has the culture of Islam, and there's people over there saying no. There's people wearing clothes just like Ms. Flanigan here,
Right.
saying no.
Right.
We don't want to be many wives. We don't want part of that culture. So we still have a dilemma here. So Gideon, I heard a solution, but you still have issues here. So what do you do with the people that are not agreeing with this culture per se?
The people agreeing with the culture, with not agreeing with the culture, usually things will pan out. Either it's going to pan out to the left or pan out to the right. It's either going to pan where they get into an agreement and try to work a certain thing out, or you get into agreement to stand still and say, I'm not budging. I'm not moving up off of what I'm moving up off of. And that is pretty much everywhere.
That's true. And
That's
why
pretty
we
much
get right.
everywhere,
And I'm
you
glad,
know,
I'm
'cause
glad you said that, because when the caller calls, what that got to do with us? It got everything to do with
Yes,
us, because it's a
yes.
representative of what we're about to go through.
Can I say
Sure,
something?
Ms.
This
Flanagan.
is why they mess with the minds of children. If we can brainwash children at an early age and infiltrate information into children at an early age, indoctrinate them, and build culture with the children by the time they are at the voting age and at the age to be able to hold a political position, they already pretty much have your mind where they want it to be. So if they're looking for democracy, or if they're looking for Sharia law, all the children, because sometimes it takes things 20 to 30 years before it come to pass anyway. All these old people are going to fight, rebel, die off. But right now, they don't really care about you. They are
Right.
working on the children.
That's right.
So by the time they really want it to come to pass, the children are already indoctrinated
Exactly.
to this process anyway.
So, Ms.
Exactly.
Flanigan, would this be a process of actually, let me just say, let me read this real quick, of booting out democracy? And before you answer that, let me just read the statistics of the religions. Let's just say culture. You got Sunni Muslims, which are 90%. And you got Coptic Christians, and you got other Christians being 1%. So part of democracy, you talk about the children, right? I know in Pakistan, Malala Yousafzai was shot in the head because it's not customary for their children, girls, to be educated. However, in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in Article 19, it said everybody has a right to an opinion. And it also says in Article 2, everybody is entitled to all rights and freedoms set forth to the Declaration without dissent of race, color, sex, language, or political opinion.
Well, I guess you just found out those universal human rights don't apply to everybody. It's just like the Bill of Rights that we have over here in the United States. Because of you are a certain color, a certain gender, you get treated a certain way no matter what the law says, no matter what is written. So, once again, shooting you in the head in front of my children will impact my children. That's the same way they did the slaves.
Right.
If I dehumanize you as a man in front of the family, the tribe, especially the strongest stud, and I cut off your testicles or whatever, and I dehumanize you in front of the children, that will put fear in you. So a lot of things are fear factors.
So I guess in this case, Malala's case, shoot a little girl in the head and terrorize the other children on the bus then, right?
Of course.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Tactics that's been working since the beginning of time.
Theocracy and culture, I tell you.
And
Capitalism.
Wait a
Fear
minute,
has always
Gideon.
been a great motivator all over the world.
Capitalism. Okay, so
Yes.
Okay, Gideon, you say it's capitalism. Now,
Absolutely.
I'm not an advocate for capitalism. at
Right.
all, but you have.
See, democracy is the organizing tool of capitalism. It is the racist agenda of European monarchy that the banking systems developed in this country have a debt to pay to their mother, which is in Europe. Okay. So America, along with its European allies and its minions, are going throughout the known world to create this concept of new world order, or one world government, which is really the old order of the king.
Okay.
And the king, that's what America was supposedly about. People being able to come over here and set up their own little vassal states on the land that they went and squatted on and stole. But when you talk about what's happening in Egypt, the upswell of dissent had to do with the collusion of the Mubarak government and those even back to with Jimmy Carter's era,
Right.
For Camp David Accords, that they were able to quell those, but then they shot at the what's his name? The last leader of Egypt that used to look like a brother. They shot him.
Gaddafi.
What was his name?
Gaddafi?
Not Gaddafi.
Anwar
Anwar Sadat. They shot him in front, just like they did Kennedy, in broad daylight in front of everybody. So that quelled the dissent that was going on then.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. So is socialism the answer? Because that's the opposite of capitalism.
Well, that we are supposed to be social.
That's right.
We are being social now. If the concept of socialism, which Martin Luther King was demonized for,
Now, mind you, this is an economical system that we're talking about. This
surely.
is still not.
Right.
This is still not dealing with the administration.
but see, what you're dealing with is a system of economics that's based on deception because it's based on the fiat economy. America went over the fiscal cliff in 1933. So as we should also be teaching our children that they're still in slavery because they are being dehumanized and reduced to a number,
Right.
then they also need to recognize that in this system of white supremacy, that they are under attack, and the statistics and the judicial system show it, and the miseducation of our people.
Okay, Dave.
I definitely agree. And what my brother said, Gideon over here, in 1933, we're dealing with this fiscal cliff where they're supposed to have it semi-solved. Okay. Well, we're living in a hyperinflation. It's always been a hyperinflation for years.
Okay.
For years, and there's that deception again. The deception, where does the deception goes? Where did it start from? And when you find out the deception, where did it start from? 9 out of 10 times you find out it's a European structure. Pretty much sets the agenda. What you do is you fool the people based on their emotions. People are looking for good. They're looking for a cause. They're looking for a turnaround. They're looking to be recognized. They're looking for that thing, a sense of peace. They're not getting it. So what you do is you become like a joker or a Muppeteer. You keep playing with the Muppet and making people do the things that they need to do to stir them away from the agenda. Like Ms.Flanigan just got through saying about our children coming up.
Okay.
You don't focus on us no more. Focus on the children.
Okay.
Because, good.
Oh, and I was going to say 770-559-2999. Y'all call in and get some of this. So you're saying that as an economical system, would you say replace socialism with capitalism, since you guys both agree that capitalism is the evil source that is causing people to act crazy and shoot women and children in the head?
Capitalism is an evil system.
Okay.
It's very evil because there's so much greed and so much envy. You know, people who sitting at the table, just take it as if we were in here and there was other people at the table. And we're talking about a pot of money. We're talking about a pot of power.
Okay.
There would be some greed, there would be some envy and this type of stuff, and that thing will carry over to a certain sector.
Okay.
And we see this commonly each and every day in America.
That's right.
What bubbles up at the top filters at the bottom, and what filters at the bottom is never recognized because it always started at the top.
Ms. Flanigan, I know you're chief. We've talked about capitalism and socialism. Now, based on what Gideon and Brother Dave, they say that capitalism is an evil system. Do you
Well, you
agree?
know I love capitalism. See my bling bling.
Come on, come on with it.
Tell us what you really think. Don't be shy.
First and foremost, I would never agree to socialism per se, because that's also a control factor. Control how much money I get, how much I eat, when I get it. Socialism at its best. Now, because you said one important thing. You said a pot of gold. We have a pot of gold. Remember, the king is never going to participate in what the peasants get. So the king, the leaders, the world bankers are going to always get their 1%. And then we're going to have our little socialist group. We're going to have to fiddle and faddle after they divide up what is left in the little socialist pot amongst us four. The king is never going to participate with the peasant. Never, ever, ever. Never has been, never will be. That's why you have dictators in the richest country, the poorest countries, but they're living like a king.
So, Ms. Flanigan, are you saying that there's no solution to this
No,
problem?
there's always a solution, but it's not socialism.
So it's not socialism.
We have to once again come back to the table without the greedy people with moral codes.
So what do we do with the greedy people?
Kill them.
Queen of the Christians say kill all the greedy people.
Hey, that's the Crusades. That's what they said when they went on the
Robin Hood,
Crusades.
I just looked at Robin Hood
Again,
the
for the
other day.
record, kill the greedy people, according to the Queen of the Christians. Go ahead, Ms. Flanigan.
Once again, I looked at a cartoon the other day called Anastasia.
So would you say kill the 1%? That'd mean the Enron, the
Look, I looked at.
Halliburtons, and the.
Let me share something with you.
Hold on. I'm asking you a question. Dealing with the fiscal cliff, we just talked about the fiscal cliff. You kill the 1%.
Because I cannot
wanna answer that question.
dictate who the greedy are.
No, but see, I'm giving
I will
you
give
the
them
power.
opportunity to come to the table.
But you
Like
said
I
they would never
hold
come
on,
to the
hold
table.
on. I said everybody must come to the table. If you ask the solution, I'm telling you, you must come together for a common goal and a common good that is good for the people. Socialism is not good for the mass number of people because the king is going to always have all the wealth and redistribute what he wants to distribute to you.
Much like capitalism.
Period.
Exactly.
Much like capitalism, much like it. So therefore, we must come to the table and come up with a new system. Period.
So then you would have to
Like you have to
a
take this
democratic
surreal
vote.
law and this democracy and come together and form something new. because that's what they're doing with the New World Order.
But see, the only
They're
thing.
bringing the old laws, the ancient laws, and
But
all
see,
these
the only
laws,
thing
and bringing them
about
together for
the only
something
thing
new.
about okay, and I'm glad you said bring Sharia law and the human rights together. So let me ask you a question. As a Christian, can we come together and make amendments to the Bible? Oh, that's what we already have, the New Testament, right? That's right.
That's incorrect.
So let me ask Gideon the same question.
that's
That's
not-
right. They already made amendments to the Bible,
not-
the New
that's
Testament.
not a true answer,
Stop
though.
slapping my sister around up in here, man. You know I
He
can't
missed,
have
he missed the punch. Look,
Whoa.
he jammed, but I ducked. That's not accurate. That's
gotta
not
call it.
accurate.
You know we
Wait, we
can't
gotta call
have
it.
that
That's
up in
not
here,
accurate.
man.
You gotta call it.
That's not accurate.
That's it. Call her.
That's not accurate.
Okay, go ahead, caller. How you doing today? Okay, Gideon, before they come on.
Speaking of, hello?
Yes, sister, how you doing?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with the sister that is speaking. You need to kill the 1% because in the end, they have killed us to get to where they are right now. I agree 100%. If all people come together, as if she's saying we're socialists, then we all need to come together as socialists and get down with this real movement and ice these people straight up. Because
Sisters.
the money needs to come back to us because they are definitely some greedy people. Peace.
As you can tell, she don't.
I'm not a terrorist, man.
As you can tell, she don't watch Django. Unchained. Isn't it?
No, she done watch Black Atheists.
Hey, we know.
Down with the king.
Wait a minute. I love white folks.
Well, let me
Okay,
just
white,
respond, if
okay.
I may, in reference to.
So let's just say, let's use the same concept. We got the Torah.
Yes.
The Hebrew Israelites are in power.
Exactly.
And then we got the Declaration of Human Rights here.
Yeah.
So do we make amendments to your Torah?
Well, see, the Declaration of Human Rights is the Torah.
No,
Hello?
Gideon, no.
Now, when we talk about the Constitution devised by men who didn't even think we were human at the time that they created the concept, then we're dealing with two different issues. The concept of a Declaration of Human Rights, when you look at the Torah, is the epitome of why it was written, to give order to mankind. But I want to bring it to where we are today, and if you have a comment, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Gideon, because
Where we are
I'm a little
today in
baffled.
reference to, the human rights is what Malcolm X was fighting
That's right.
in the international arena to go to the world court against America and its atrocities on our people.
That's right.
So when we look at America now, what they're getting ready to do as a police state under the guise of the soft boot that my beloved brother, the Wiseman, has been referring to, they are getting ready to unleash the IRS demagoguery on the masses of the people. They've already told you that the fiscal cliff scenario is going to play itself out. They've only staved it off for 2 months.
Okay.
But after that 2 months, they're going to at least unleash the dogs of the IRS.
But Ms.Flanigan gave her a solution like the caller. Just kill the rich people off. What's
No,
Well-
I never
what's the
said the
problem?
rich people.
Well,
I
that-
never
Well, that's
said
what
I
she
want to
said.
be
You
rich.
ain't
I
she ain't
never-
moonwalking, is she?
Oh,
Is she
she-
moonwalking?
I never said, first of all,
Jack.
don't get my words twisted. I never said kill
Wait a
off
minute,
some
you got
rich people.
devotees
got
out
sisters.
there
Wait,
now.
you got your own tape?
No,
These
I
sisters
use
out
the
here
ready to
word
do some
greedy people. So you can be rich and still share.
You can be poor and be greedy.
There you have, and that's what I said, the greedy people. I ain't say nothing about the rich. I ain't say no level of income.
David, now I know this might be easy, or I don't know. Do we make amendments to the Bible and Sharia law and all these books? I mean, what do we do when we put them together? Because, this requires there be some amendments.
Okay. Well,
So
question would be, why would you want to change it? Why would you want to make amendments? Why would you want to make amendments to the Bible, and why would you want to make amendments to
I'm glad you're asking me that question. Right. And y'all can ask me questions. I would say to seem fair, because Ms.Flanigan may not want to marry me if I got 10 other wives. You know what I'm saying? She may not want to do that. So,
If you
I'm
take
just,
got enough money,
Hey,
As
it's
an
according to how
example.
much cheese you
Oh,
folks
so it goes back to
All right
economy.
now.
Oh, so it goes back
Hey,
to economy.
she's invested now.
That's
She,
it.
she give her what the plan is.
That's
You know
right.
how you gonna set her up?
That's right.
See, here's what we're going to do. Okay, I got you. So,
If she's going to be number 11 or number 1, what part of the concubine is
Hey,
she going to
don't
be?
forget the reality show of one of these young rappers that's got 10 My Baby's mothers.
Oh, my
But wait a minute. What about the women that believe I don't need a man? I get my
Oh,
education.
there are
and
many
you,
of
You
them.
got that going over
Absolutely.
there. It's brewing.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And there again, when women say that, usually when they say, hey, I don't need a man, there is some sort of deception that was set up that got in that woman's head at that time.
Now that I can say capitalism, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
There's
agree
that
with
deception that is set up. And so when you see the deception as the controllers, what they do is they create the field. So even you who look and see the deception in front of you, it seems so surreal. It's like, man.
Right. Hidden openly.
Yeah, maybe she is right. Maybe she does need to be alone.
Right.
It's a controller who's controlling the whole field, and that limits you in your thinking.
Right.
If you cannot see the deception.
Wait a minute. Woman, thou art loose.
Well, this is why you have 78 women in Congress, and you will come to find out there will be more women that occupy the workforce coming real soon. If we put a lot of women,
Now,
don't
let
sound
me
controversial.
say this as the queen of the Christians. You know, there's some lesbian women and
Oh,
there's some
yeah.
atheist women in that group. So,
Bull
you
dykes.
know,
Once again,
that came together with Christian women. And I'm sure with other groups,
what
but
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying there's some women in that factor that don't necessarily agree with your way of thinking.
if you get rid of the concept of the religion thing, and I'm talking about religion based on laws and tradition, not necessarily the spiritual aspect. Once again, if we go back to the concept of what he's talking about, the deception of I don't need no man because I can take care of my own. I got my own house. I got my own car.
It's a form of capitalism.
We know that a lot of positions are being made specifically for women.
Exactly.
So we can disown our man and break up the family.
Right.
When you come to understand the whole big picture, it's really about breaking up the family.
Exactly.
It's always been.
It's about the
Exactly.
family, the
Exactly.
family and the seed
That's
and the
right.
population.
That's
so we
right.
can talk about all the surface stuff, but when you really understand the
But
real
Ms.
true
Flanigan, what
thing
if
is,
my daughter wants to go to school and become a scientist? I mean, I would support her as her father, both my daughters.
And she'd work for Monsanto, and she'd come up with the Terminator
now, wait a minute.
gene
Now, wait a
that
minute.
terminates life, and
As
you'll
an
say, "Oh,
atheist-
my daughter, she is so."
As an atheist, you didn't ask me if I was for or against it, Gideon. See, you make this assumption
are you
that
for
I'm.
that against that?
I would do like the Obamas, plant my garden and feed y'all Monsanto.
Oh my goodness! That's why we don't want the atheists running stuff.
No, that's American system. No,
Wait a
really,
minute.
no, really.
They go to King, just blew the whole atheist agenda right there.
Can we get an atheist to call in?
You need some support. You don't want to
Like,
kill off
what's
all
his
your
name?
people,
Call
man.
in right now.
That's why they went in on
No,
Saddam.
but
So
see,
they
I
said.
would give y'all free Medicaid, you know.
Oh
just pay a
yeah.
portion
Well,
of
you
it.
sound like capitalist to me. You sound like a
No,
capitalist.
no,
That's
because
where
I
it's
think
a very thin line
I'm
between
for.
socialism and capitalism
It's
and
abs-
communism. It's a very, very, very,
It's a
very,
very
Okay,
this
let
is
me
the trick.
take that back.
Without
because Dave looking at me real crazy. I wouldn't feed your family Monsanto, but I would feed them Monsanto.
Oh,
Because
my
they'll pray over their
goodness.
food.
You know what,
Because they'll
what's
pray over their food. So Jesus and Yah will take care of them.
But see, that's what America is doing. America is feeding you some of the most poisoned, devalued food on the planet and giving it great advertising and great lyrics and keeping you attached to stuff that's giving you high blood pressure, diabetes,
Gideon, that's y'all's
malnutrition.
Plan. That's y'all's plan.
It is, in fact, it is.
So then what's the problem?
Well, this is why we're called watchmen. We must at least warn the people where we can form
But it's
coalitions
already in y'all's plan.
like this program.
Support the program. What are you doing?
Warning.
You remember the story of Job? Let Satan do his work.
No,
What's
no,
the
that's
problem?
not.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is true. He is going to do his work.
Because I was
Okay, so
actually
why you
talking to him
complaining?
about this earlier.
Well,
Is to say, okay, if you already know the outcome, do you waste your time spending to fight the battle? This is why he completely said the battle is not yours, it's the Lord.
true.
Number one, he did also say watch and pray.
No
At
doubt.
the same time, he also said go spread the good news.
Exactly.
Number three, just because he said famine is going to come upon the earth, he didn't say I have to participate in the famine.
Exactly.
Well, if it's famine, now he did say he would give,
He said
everybody
never
would
seen
be,
a
but he
seed.
would make a way, he would prepare, and then he told you, no weapon formed against you
So-
shall prosper.
Right, so
But
just
see,
because...
but again, I'm here now. So we ain't got to talk about what I'm here now. I'm giving y'all power.
Well,
I'm
you know what?
saying
In
is-
fact, you are correct.
Right,
Because you have life That is a spirit that has not been able to be measured or quantified in a scientific measure. They have not been able to reproduce it. So you are an image of Yah. So to bestow power, you have the ability to bestow blessings and curses. You are
Okay,
God.
so I want to bestow solutions right
Okay,
now.
now.
Well, go ahead.
Brother
And
Dave.
You can. It's all on your mindset. You can bestow solutions.
absolutely.
Okay.
You have to have the
Now,
right.
wait a minute,
You
'cause-
have to have the right type of mindset, and you have to make sure when you come with these solutions, you are talking to righteous type of people who will believe in you and take the thing to the forefront, not lackers, because that's what we're seeing so much in our economy and so much of the world.
Right.
Okay, so Dave, is
Fear will cause many to lack.
Exactly.
things in the Bible, because Ms.Flanigan has said this many times, that, and Gideon has said this too, that things are predestined.
Exactly. Manifest destiny.
So is the mentality, I'm just going to let, the higher power do all the work, or do I put
No,
boots on
you
the
get
ground?
out there and push the agenda.
Okay.
You have to.
Okay.
You have this
So then-
inside your being. You have to go out and push. You can't wait. You got to move towards something.
See, the problem with the predestination, God do still give you a choice. And if you choose that way, number one, the problem with
So in this right
predestination, you
here-
never know. See, he didn't tell me the future. He gives me some signs and some things, and I can know a little things about the future. But he didn't tell me the whole full future, because if I knew the whole full future, I would try to change the future. I would try to change my outcome. He do not give me the whole full future. So even though this outcome may already be there, I don't know it. So I may, you see what I'm saying? You don't know the whole full future.
Okay, well, let me say this. Democracy provides protection of human rights, and that being the human rights of women. So what I'm seeing across, not only we see it in our country, but what I'm saying is that women are rising up, and that power within them telling them that it's certain traditions, certain belief systems that are not in their best interests. And so when you have a large number saying that, look, we are not down with that, I think there's a conflict between, I don't think you can mesh the two together, because one says it's this way or it's my way or the highway, and this one says work with everybody.
Well, eventually, the one world government constitution is going to become in play anyway. Let them fight. Let them fight for the rights, just like we had to do for our civil rights and different things of that nature.
Okay,
Well, you have-
You know, let them.
Go ahead,
you got
Gideon.
to
You
fight
have to
for your rights.
realize the importance of the psychology behind, and the term psyche is a Greek god, if you look up the term psychic, but it has to do with the spirit. The psychology behind having a biblical concept and a higher power that you can give all your troubles to.
Okay.
See, that's the one thing about the Creator in reference to why it was given his people. He was to give them a secure mindset in the midst of atrocities and devastation and all of these trials that will be coming on the planet. And when my sister said we don't know the future, obviously we don't know in great detail, but biblically speaking,
So Gideon,
it
you're talking about things written by Yah, the biblical. So let me ask you, because you believe that the United States government is an evil document, correct?
the government is the people. The system in which the government is run by is, by its very nature, destructive of the planet, the people, and all the resources.
So tell me what is evil about the Constitution. What's evil about it?
What is evil
Other
about
than the 3/5 amendments, I know you're going to
Hey,
go there.
thank
Let's
you.
amend. Let's
Well,
amend
okay,
that.
wow, yeah,
Let's
okay.
amend
Now,
that.
since you do verbal judo, kind of blocked that one, let me go into the next phase. When we look at the Constitution, the manifest destiny of those leaders were not taking consideration of all of humanity. Again, at that time, we weren't even considered human. So the creeds that they set up, albeit they had some moral
Context.
Thank you. Context
Okay.
that they were written in, it did not have a holistic approach to all of humanity. If it were, then there would not have been an agenda set up for capitalizing off of the life and the pillaging of another race of human beings.
Wait a minute, we got a black president.
Well, that seems absolutely zero. Because when you
What are you
look
talking
at
about,
his
zero?
lineage, he is part of the
Exactly.
lineage of Cheney,
Okay,
Bush.
right.
They
Right.
go all the way back to the Roman oligarchy that Tavis and
So it goes back to
Cornell
the-
spoke of.
Right.
This oligarchy is part of the Illuminati, Bilderbergs, Rothschilds.
But wait a minute, I'm down. I'm down. Let me say this for the
No, they
record.
ain't letting you in, home. You
I'm
are,
down
there's a
with
lot
the
of
Illuminati
y'all down, but
because they're a godless organization, so I'm down with them.
But see, that's just like the sheriff department. And
You
Victor
know,
Hill,
Hov-
of course,
okay,
once
I'm good,
again,
yes.
came back in. Beautiful brother. The people love him. But guess what?
Right.
He had to kiss the ring finger of white supremacy to be a shad. How do you mean? Or what do I mean by
So-
that? He has to sign an oath
Okay, but in order,
to a flag, which is a piece of paper, a
Dave.
cloth.
Dave, in order to beat white supremacy, you got to come up with a better system because I'm reading this. And I don't see anything in the Bible, Quran, Torah, and the Keeping the Gas, the Nocturne tablets, the Dead Sea Scrolls that beat this. I do not. So put this next to those religious books. I see the religious book as an evil system. I see any theocratic rule as an evil system. I see any centralized government as an evil system. This has not only rights of all people, on paper. Let's not talk about the corrupt governments. I know Pam's going to go there. But you also have a decentralized government. Barack Obama can't make all the shots. That's why you have the fiscal cliff debate. And then on top of that, decentralized government, you have amendments, things that allow changes. In the holy books, they say, no, God's word is final and that's it, no changes.
Right. Of course, the Bible is like that. Because
So how do we defeat this system of white supremacy? I mean, oh my God, they got things so perfect almost on paper.
that is true. How to defeat it? When you really look at it in all types of measures across the board, like we're sitting here right now, every time we come together, we say solution, hey, we need to work on a solution, the deception already has you defeated. You can put much in pillar through sand, snow, or what have you to get to where you need to be to come with a solution. This form of government, this form of demonic type of power works day and night.
Okay.
One of my, just to go real short, I had an aunt who married a CIA agent a long time ago, passed away, and the things that he kind of like shared, I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, just how you think about your solution, we're 250 years ahead.
Thank
and
you.
so we
Thank you.
kind of like, whatever you come up with, we thought about, okay, you go to the house meeting, you go do such and such, wherever you go, and how we control that is anyone who is paying license or fees like lawyers or doctors and whatever you paying, for your car, the title,
right.
tax. Once we control all that, we know who the major players are. So when when we have that, we silence everyone. How do you silence? Because of emotions wanting and longing for more. You want more money, you want this, you want that. So what do is we buy you off.
Oh, and let me tell you, being that, Ms.Flanigan said I'm an agent for the Illuminati. Let me tell you how we
They ain't
gonna.
letting you in,
No,
you don't make no
I'm
money.
I'm all the way in. Let me tell you our solution for the war. See, the police and the soldiers, I think I mentioned this before, they're going to realize that we're not paying them enough money.
Exactly.
And so we're going to make it more sufficient, and we're going to make video games via streaming, and we're going to send the drones off because, Ms.Flanigan last time talked about unmanned drones, but we need human accuracy.
Right.
And
That's
who has the best human accuracy but the little kids on the PlayStation? So
Right.
we thought 20 years ahead
Exactly.
with the games and the kids, they love the Xboxes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? All I got to do, if I want to bribe my kids, I just buy them a PlayStation.
I mean,
Best
if you
daddy in
even
the
look at
world.
the movie Top Gun, you look at the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise.
Right.
If you've seen his screen, it kind of reminds you like one of those video games, you see,
Right.
and it's just like, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean,
right.
and you got kids playing it. My nephew was playing that
That
type
was
of
back
game.
in the 80s.
Exactly.
War games was back in
Exactly.
1984.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, we bring it to you on TV, fictional. You got it in your home.
Right.
You're pretty much going through our boot camp training
Right.
to learn how to do such and such. So when you are called to order,
You
we
already
have,
know.
Thank you.
It's already in you.
It's already done.
Manchurian candidate.
Exactly.
And if you take away my PlayStation, I'm calling the police.
Exactly.
Ms. Flanigan?
Well, being that you are for neighbor's, that's a part of socialism too. He ate too much food this week, so I'm going to call on you. So since we do have a system that's already getting set up called community police, I seen a big sign the other day, call in all your criminals. You see what I'm saying? So that's another thing to set up community police to teach you how to police him and you police me and we
That
all
started in
police.
slavery.
Right,
Exactly.
I mean, in Django, you had Samuel L. Jackson, master.
Right,
They not here for that girl now.
Okay, but that's a
not really-
different, but now it's going to be wide open. That's different. Slavery, you was a slave. You knew you was a slave. Like right now, you saying we're still slave and we don't know we're a
Don't
slave.
even know.
Exactly.
But even though I don't
You
agree,
flip-flopping.
but still.
Ms.Flanigan, why you flip-flopping?
Hey, I stick with the truth.
Exactly.
Here's the point about this Bible thing that you want to keep talking
Because on
about.
Gideon
this
show,
minute.
you said we're not slaves.
No, and I said I'm not a slave.
Okay, you're not a slave.
I said you can
Oh, so you're
still.
an
You
agent
can.
like
I
me.
said you can. No, I ain't no agent. for Illuminati. You can still have slavery.
You're agent for Jesus.
and don't
Sister of slavery.
participate in being a slave.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You can die before you. You see.
Well, let me see. The
Slavery-
slavery is incorporated in the thought process.
Right, that's
Just
the whole
as if,
point.
give you case in point, when we talk about the new year, quote unquote, Master has defined for his devotees the time in which the new year is to begin.
That's true.
For those of us who have alternatives because of cultural diversity, we have a lunar calendar system.
Okay.
And the Europeans said, this fictional god called Janus, the Roman god of door,